Hey dear, welcome back to AK Movies Talk. Today I will show you 2022 South Korean zombie apocalypse series, titled All of Us Are Dead. It's a new high school zombie show. After a failed science experiment by a science teacher, a high school is overrun with zombies, and the trapped students are struggle to survive. Without food or water, and communication cut off by the government, they must use equipment around the school to protect themselves from the zombies in the midst of a battleground, or they will become part of the infected. Meanwhile, the South Korean military work to isolate the outbreak and protect the country from an even larger outbreak. So let's begin. Spoilers ahead, watch out and stay safe. The drama story begins in Korea, where we see a few students, one of whom is getting hit by 4 other students. The name of this student is Jae-soo. However, after a while, something unusual activity starts to happen in Jae-soo's body. After witnessing his body, it appears like he would turn into a zombie. Jae-soo begins to attack the students who were mistreating him. He reacts like a zombie, attacking someone even though they can't see them. Jae-soo falls on the road while attempting to attack a student. He couldn't move after falling on the road. The 4 students now consider him dead. Later, the scene moves to a hospital, where we see Jae-soo, who has been admitted there. Mr. Lee, his father, arrives to meet him. And the two converse for a while, although Jae-soo was already aware that he could be a zombie. His father was also aware that he could be converted into a zombie. Jae-soo also tries to attack his father during this point. Meanwhile, Mr. Lee is holding a Bible and pointing it in the direction of Jae-soo. Mr. Lee later packs Jae-soo in a bag and transports him out of the hospital, while Jae-soo's hand emerges out and he grabs it. It revealed here that zombies aren't going to die easily. The scene cuts afterwards, and we witness the scene after a few days. We are shown a Korean school, where everyone is thrilled that summer is over and winter has arrived. All of the students are content. There is a school-wide culture that requires students to clean the school on their own, and they are all actively involved in this duty. Meanwhile, a science lab is shown. We see a girl awaking. She is the same girl who was with the students that were fighting Jae-soo at the beginning of the film. She hears a strange sound as she prepares to leave the science lab, and then notices a rat enclosed in a box. She begins to admire the rat and calls it by pointing her fingers at it, while the rat bites her. When the rat bites her, her finger begins to bleed, and the rat eventually becomes a zombie. We now know that if the rat bites her, she will turn into a zombie. Meanwhile, the lab's science teacher arrives, and it comes out that he is Mr. Lee. Now we know who their science teacher is. When Mr. Lee discovers that she has been bitten by a rat, he doesn't allow her to let her go and locks her up. Later on, the main character's mother owns a hotel, and all of her friends insist him to eat at her mother's restaurant. Everyone goes to Chongsan's restaurant Mother's. Later in the series, we meet another main character named Anjo. They now share a dinner at this restaurant and enjoy it a lot, as well as discussing their school teacher. They were discussing how Mr. Lee has been acting strangely since his son vanished. They're talking about Jae-soo, who went missing and was last seen in a suitcase. After then, no one knows anything about him. They go outside the restaurant later. Chongsan is a lover of Anjo, that we know here. Anjo opens her hair and inquires from San about it. He also wonders if Anjo liked him. They all return later and we see the girl who Mr. Lee had locked up, but she hasn't yet turned into a zombie. The next morning, we observe Anjo seated with her father and conversing. Meanwhile, Chongsan appears, and we know him as a fellow resident of the same building. They play a game there, and the loser takes the winner's bag to school. Now that Anjo has lost the game, she transports San's bag to school, where they arrive later. We see that the school has a pleasant atmosphere, and that all of the students appear to be enjoying themselves. Later, the boys who'd beaten Jae-soo are seen taking a girl and a boy to the school's backyard building. They beat that boy a lot while working on the building construction project. They all suppose that he informs the teacher of Jae-soo's disappearance news. They begin filming an immoral video of the female they have taken with them. With the video, they used to blackmail her. Here comes the third main character, Seo-hyo, who saves the girl and takes her away. While walking along the street, Anjo notices her and opens her hair to see him. We become aware that she likes Seo Hyo, not San. On the other hand, Seo Hyo and San appear to be excellent friends, and their class teacher later enters their classroom. She begins to collect their cell phones. She inquiries about the missing girl. While a student claims to have seen her in the science lab the last time, she goes to the science lab to ask Mr. Lee about it, but he refuses to believe and says that she hasn't been there. Meanwhile, the teacher hears an unusual noise. Mr. Lee claims that he has locked a rat and it might be the sound of that rat. When the teacher returns, she sees the girl who is transformed into a zombie. When Mr. Lee injects her, it appears that he is performing an experiment on her. She asks Mr. Lee not to murder her, and he replies, "I hope so, but I wouldn't kill you." He's probably aware that she's about to die. Later, he enters the classroom later. We can tell the boy is bullying the girl whose videos he previously recorded. He was one of the students who beat Jae-soo. Mr. Lee was teaching a chapter on a virus. He confidently asserts that it is wrongly written in the book, yet, that girl whom Mr. Lee had bound was untied. She went to her class teacher and told her everything that Mr. Lee had done to her. After seeing her condition, all of the students in the class become terrified. She also claims that Mr. Lee injected her. As a result, the entire conversation has gone viral in the class. Meanwhile, Seo Hyo takes her to the medical room, and Anjo joins Seo Hyo. That girl bites on Han's Joe's when she is lying on the bed. On the other side, students in the class are debating how Mr. Lee is torturing her because she and her gang used to torture his son. We see a girl who was going to take her bag at home because her health was failing, and she walks quietly back to her house. Later, San notices that the girl has bitten Anjo. He goes to rescue her, but there is no one there when he returns. Anjo's father bandages her and the girl is carried to the hospital in an ambulance. Anjo's father is an ambulance worker. While walking into class, Anjo calls Seo Hyo and tells him her name Best, which in Korea meant asking for a date. Seo Hyo asks Anjo if she wants to go out on a date, and she says yes. San also arrives, which enrages Anjo because she believes he has disturbed them. Mr. Lee, on the other hand, notices that the girl is missing when he checks into the lab, and he becomes concerned. Meanwhile, one of the teachers approaches Mr. Lee and inquiries about the girl, taking him to the principal's office. Mr. Lee tells the girl should not to send out because she is under quarantine. However, the principal refuses to report the incident to the police, prompting Mr. Lee to question why no action was taken when my son was being humiliated. Meanwhile, the police come and arrest Mr. Lee. On the other hand, we witness a medical teacher who got bitten by that girl and turned into a zombie very instantly. We see the school where during recess, all of the children came into the canteen to have lunch. Anjo was sitting there with his friends, debating how to propose to Seo Hyo, despite his desire to impress another girl. She was the class president and had to sit alone since her mother made her do it. She doesn't like it, which is why no one in the class respects her. On the other hand, we see two of the gang's members beating Jae-soo. They used to make a film of that medical teacher who acts weirdly after becoming a zombie while passing by. Meanwhile, the teacher attacked them, biting and eating one of the boy's checks, turning him into a zombie. He begins to eat the students. Later, we see the scene on the school roof, where the girl tries to take her own life, which is recorded on film by those boys. In the meantime, her friend arrives to save her by stopping her from doing so. That girl asks him why he's doing this and if he likes her. He answers yes, but the girl forbids him, telling him, "I'm a loser. You, too, are a loser, and we will be losers together." Later, the girl tries to take her own life and looks below, where she sees a large number of students falling out the window. These students were actually attempting to capture zombies, and she is disturbed as a result of witnessing this. All of the zombies who had fallen to the ground began attacking students. Later, we see the school canteen, where everyone is relaxed because they have no idea what's going on. Anjo inquires of San about Seo Hyo's feelings for her. San's heart breaks as he hears this, and he refuses to help her. While Anjo looks out the window, she notices a large number of students fleeing. She also notices a large number of zombies biting the students. Here, we see a gang member who transforms into a zombie and attacks Anjo. In the second episode of this series, we see some students playing on the ground while zombies attack them and the students flee. Later, we show the principal's office, where he is yelling at all of the teachers, telling them that the news about zombies has been leaked to the media, and that this should not happen. However, a teacher doesn't like it, and as she goes outside for the announcement, a zombie attacks and eats a teacher. Later, we find Anjo being attacked by a zombie in the canteen, but San comes to her rescue. San saves her and the two of them jump out the window, but there were a lot of zombies. They both make it to the gate by escaping when a truck has an accident. Who's has also turned into a zombie, and together they reach a first floor of a building. They reach at the class, they refuse to unlock the door, because they think the students to be zombies. However, on their insistence, they open the door and everyone enters the classroom. On the other hand, we see Seo Hyo emerge from the window, accompanied by the president. And they both enter the classroom with all. On the other hand, the first girl turned into a zombie was taken to the hospital. And we see Mr. Lee in jail, and we learn that he was a scientist first. He has a cat and a rat in a cage. The rat sits fearfully in one corner of the cage. But Mr. Lee has stolen the rodent's DNA one day while it ragged. And he created medicine out of it and injected it into his son, believing that his boy is a coward as well and that he will rag. However, his son transforms into a zombie and murders his mother. On the one hand, we know Mr. Lee is a psycho. On the other hand, we see that girl in the hospital, where she was subjected to certain tests. She bites two physicians, both of whom turn into zombies at the same time. Zombies spread throughout the hospital as a result of everyone biting each other. On the other hand, we see the girl who left school and, luckily, has returned. Meanwhile, we notice a bus carrying a large number of students returning from a game. When they arrive at school, they become shocked. On the other hand, students in the classroom are trying to find a phone to ask for help. They call the police, but they don't bother since they think the students are playing a prank. The police department, on the other hand, has received a report that zombies have spread the hospital. They are concerned after this, but Anjo phones her father, who arrives with his team to help them after hearing this. A teacher, on the other hand, arrived, and the students were overjoyed, so he told them to close the door and window. When Anjo sees the teacher's bitten hand by a zombie, he instantly transforms into a zombie. He bites another girl and makes her a zombie with him. All of the students fight with that teacher, and he is eventually locked in the room. And they run to lab, where Seo Hyo engages them in air combat as he was good at. They finally make it to the lab, which is locked. Anjo breaks the lock while the other students fight the zombies and enter the lab. They slam the doors and windows shut. Anjo inquiries about Seo Hyo, because he left outside. She supposes that he has been transformed into a zombie. Later in the episode, we encounter the scene of the roof, the same girl and boy that we saw first. The scene moves to a washroom, where a girl is hiding from zombies. A girl and a boy were hidden in the next washroom, and the girl was infected while the boy was unaware. And the girl in the other washroom takes the boy out of that washroom and locks him there. And then she turns into a zombie, an arrow hits her head. Two additional main characters from the series are introduced. We've seen students on the bus who know how to use a bow and arrow. They'd just arrived the bus. Later, we see the teacher declaring that the school is in horrible form and the students should hide wherever they are. All of the students are shown where they are hidden throughout this time. We notice the principal, who had been hiding behind the table. Now Anjo's friend asks if she told her friend that she likes Seo Hyo. Later, she visits Anjo and she notices that her body has gone cold and that she has turned into a zombie. She used to be Anjo's best friend, but now that she's a zombie, she attacks her. They have now dropped her from the window, and Anjo is holding her hand. She does not want to let go of her best friend's hand. Following these events, Anjo becomes rather pessimistic. On the other hand, we see Seo Hyo, who is still alive and hiding behind the bench. They all agreed to go down while holding the pipe because the door is about to be broken and the zombies will attack. San declares that he would go first, and upon seeing Anjo, he understands that she is unconcerned about anyone. She was sitting silently, and he decides to go at the last and he sends them all. There was an announcement room where they reached downward. Their teacher was as well there. Who was calling them? San and Anjo were now alone on the upside. He invites her to come, but she refuses, claiming that there is no one living that she likes. Listening to this hurts him, and ultimately, she agrees with him and he sends her downstairs. Now we see Seo Hyo, who was running from zombies and comes out from the window. When San reaches that room, there were many zombies there who takes him with them. In the end, we see, as he dies after falling with the zombies. The movie ends here. Episode 3 starts with Mr. Lee, and he was telling the police, yes, I have invented the virus, and the scene cuts here. Later, the girl is shown. Her condition was worse. She goes to a public toilet and gives birth to a baby. That's why the girl was sick and left while dropping her baby there. Coming out, she finds many zombies. Later, Soo-hyuk is shown. He was trying to go into a room through the pipe. He sees some zombies were jumping with sand. This is the scene that ended in the last episode. Soo-hyuk helps San. They enter the conference room. The strange things happen here when they come into the room. The girl in the pink sweater was asking everyone to close the window. Meanwhile, a boy asks her to let them come inside. Then we will close the window. The girl starts misbehaving with that boy. Their teacher arrives and makes them quiet. They notice a computer there. They start watching the scene of the outside on the computer. That what is going on outside. The scene outside is shown where were the zombies everywhere and people were uploading videos of it. Now they also get the video and discover that the zombies are spread everywhere. Suddenly, a zombie comes to the window through the pipe. Soo-hyuk attacks him with a rod. But San's friend hits him with the computer CPU. His nose starts bleeding during this fight. The girl in the pink sweater says you are infected and about to turn into a zombie. The scene cuts and a politician are shown. Anjo's father was also there to rescue her. One of the members of the politician has been infected. San's friend is shown and everyone was blaming him. That he is infected. He will also turn into a zombie soon. They ask him to stay in a room for an hour. The teacher asks the girl who blamed him that if he will not turn into a zombie within an hour you will apologize to him. San's mother is shown, who has heard about zombies in the news. She gets on her scooty and rides away to save him. The police were also covering the whole city. So, the infected people will not come out. The others will not get infected because of them. Later, 4 students are shown in the school's washroom. They were shown before and, on another side, San's friend is shown. He was in the room for the past half hour, but he wasn't infected. The teacher goes to call him out. San's friend doesn't come out and the teacher asks the pink sweater girl to call him. She also asks her to apologize to him. The girl apologizes to him and starts cleaning his hands wound with her handkerchief. This girl does bad with San's friend. She puts the zombie's blood in his blood through the handkerchief so the zombie's blood will be mixed in it. His body will be infected completely. She again says ill about the boy and he also fights with her in anger. The girl was still saying that he is infected. Everyone says if he would be infected he would have been changed into a zombie till now. The night appears and San's friend also gets infected. Everyone becomes emotional for San's friend. Because he was a brave boy who helped everyone. San's friend also becomes a zombie. He attacks San firstly. San distracts him and throws him down the window. He starts running with the zombies while falling down from the window. San becomes sad seeing him. Because he was a good friend of him. The girl is shown running here and there with her baby. The girl reaches the restaurant of San's mother. She ties herself there because she was also infected. She places her baby aside so she will not harm her baby after being a zombie. There was silence in the school's lab and everyone was silent. They were depressed for San's friend. The pink sweater girl says I told you he was already infected. She thinks everyone will thank her that she has saved their life. Meanwhile, the class's president slaps her and says I have seen everything. What have you done? And she tells the truth to everyone. That what this girl has done. The girl starts weeping but still she wasn't feeling regret for her mistake. The girl leaves while weeping. The class teacher also moves behind the girl. The teacher went behind her to escape her, but many zombies arrive there. They attack them. The teacher runs from there with the girl. San's mother is shown in the next episode, who has come into the ground to save her son. Reaching school, San's mother sees San's friend. She doesn't know that San's friend has also become a zombie. When she comes to ask him about San's friend along with other zombies bite her. The zombies eat her. The students are shown in the science lab while thinking the teacher and the girl are saved, because they haven't heard their screaming. On another side, the student is shown. He was a part of the gang that teases people. He escapes from the zombies and comes out while trying to come out of the school on a cycle. Suddenly, the chain of his cycle removes and many zombies start following him. He again moves inside the school and goes to the principal office. He ends many zombies and the principal was also hidden in the office. On another side, two girls are shown fighting in the washroom. The police officer is shown still asking Mr. Lee about the virus. Mr. Lee tells him he has made the virus to make his son strong. However, this virus has the opposite effect on their son, and he has eaten his mother as a zombie. The police officer takes Mr. Lee out with him as the city begins to empty. Many zombies arrive and attack the police officer. Mr. Lee goes to save the police officer, but a zombie attacks him. He bites him. Mr. Lee knows he will die soon and says to the police officer, "There is my laptop in the science lab. There is an antidote to this virus in it." The officer runs. Mr. Lee now has become a zombie but can control himself even after being a zombie. The officer reaches a boy and asks him to go with him to the emergency management. Reaching there, he can tell everyone about the laptop in which there was a virus's antidote. 26:53. The morning appears and the students are shown stuck in the science lab. None reaches them for help till now. The students are shown in the washroom. They have done a heavy fight at night. Now they decide to move from there together. The boy of the gang who has made the girl's video is shown on the roof. Who was trying to ending her life and the boy uploads her video. The girl moves out to escape. She decides to break the phone of that boy. So, the video will not be uploaded. She moves out, but then the zombies attack her. She escapes from the zombies. The zombies have bitten her, but it doesn't affect the girl. San and Sudyak are shown and they try to go to the staff room. To get the mobile phones from there. Reaching the staff room, they notice a girl was breaking the phone. Meanwhile, San picks up a phone from there. The girl comes forward to end San. But Sudyak saves him and pushes the girl backward. Many zombies were entering the staff room and Sudyak tries to go out of the window. But San couldn't reach the window and goes out by the door. The boy and the principal are shown. The boy has reached there and he gives him his car keys. He asks him to bring the car, but he refuses this. They start a fight and after it, Anjo's father is shown. He was rescuing everyone from there, but even at that place, there were many zombies. They were trying to go to the roof because their helicopter has to reach there. So, they will escape everyone from there. San is shown gone outside through the door and also reaches the principal office. He notices the boy is beating the principal. San forbids him and starts making videos of him, but the boy was aggressive and ends the principal. Later, he runs behind San and it is shown in episode 5 the boy is running behind San. He attacks him with a knife to stop him. That knife doesn't hit San and he was saved. San reaches a library and the boy fights San there. He asks for the phone from him to delete the video that he uploaded. Meanwhile, San hits the phone in his eye. Due to it, he becomes injured badly. San runs from there while making that gang boy falls from there. The boy was also bitten by the zombies and San runs from the library. The students are shown stuck in the washroom, then released from there courageously. They reach the medical room of the school. They notice a computer and it goes through pipes to escape from zombies. The commanders are depicted on the other side, and they have declared martial law in the city. They have dropped all the signals and San tries to make an emergency call. But he couldn't place a call because there were no networks in the city. Anjo asks a student to bring a drone. She has placed it in the lab and they move out through the window to bring the drone. The police officer is shown who is in search of a laptop with a man. They sit in the car, but it was damaged. They go to a restaurant of San's mother and notice that girl there. The girl who has tied herself. They also find her baby, and San also reached a music room through the pipeline. Anjo and the students have come with the drone. They set up the drone and discover San with its help. They also discover San is alright. They take the drone towards the city. They notice many cars there and a student sees her parents in the car. They have become zombies now. Seeing it, she weeps a lot and the zombies also break their drone. Anjo's father has taken them to the military office while escaping them in the helicopter. The military locks them in a room to check whether they are infected or not. The gang's boy who has become a zombie now, even the zombies were at a distance from him. The girl in the video is shown who was bitten by zombies. But she wasn't affected and San is shown. He was in the music room. The girl in the pink sweater was also there. She doesn't tell that she is here. The student whose parents have become zombies tries to end own life. Because her parents died. Her friends stop her from doing this and later, they get an idea. They can reach San with it. Their plan was to ring songs at some places in the school through the mic. The zombies in the school will go to that place. Like this, the school will be empty. And they can go to San. Like this, they can go to the terrace while taking him. They will call for help and now they do the same. The zombies gather at a place while running. But a zombie who was deaf was standing there. They were moving slowly behind him, but the zombie sees them. He sees them and attacks them. They run from there while attacking the zombie. The boy is shown who was injured by San with mobile. He comes and attacks everyone. He sees Suryak who was fighting with zombies. He ends the zombie and asks Suryak about San. Suryak forbids him and they fight because of it. Even the gang's boy was about to end Suryak. The class's president arrives and tries to stop her. But he bites her hand. Suryak makes the boy fall down from the window and Anjo's father makes some guards faint. Because the guards were not obeying Anjo's father. He wasn't ready to go to school. He comes out while making those guards faint and wearing their uniform. Suryak and the class president reach San and other students. When San notices she is bitten by zombies, he moves forward to end her. Suryak says while holding her hand, if this will happen, I will throw her down the window. Some other students are shown in the medical room. They come out and start helping their companion. Because he was badly injured. The class president was infected and Suryak ties his hand with her. So, she will not harm anyone else. The police officer is shown who has saved the baby of the girl. He comes out while taking the baby and sees another girl. Many zombies were behind her and they again come back to the restaurant taking the girl. The students stuck in the music room were feeling hungry. They try to open the room. The room contains the food and the girl in the pink sweater was also there. She locks the door from inside. Anjo's father has moved from there to save his daughter. The soldiers see him there and start firing at him. The students find a camera and they start recording their feelings in it. Anjo's father jumps in the water while escaping. He shoots a bullet and becomes injured. Suryak is still shown with the girl in episode 7. The girl who was infected. He says that he likes her. The girl is shown whose video was made by the boys. She has become a half-zombie because of being bitten by zombies. She comes to her teacher. The teacher starts hitting her while seeing her, but this teacher didn't help her ever. At the time when the boys tease her. That's why she eats her teacher. Because she was hungry. The students stuck in the music room are shown and make a plan. The students have to go to the terrace so they can call for help while going there. They plan to divide this room into 2 parts because they will play the song in this room. The zombies will gather in this room and they will leave this room from another door. Their plan was successful. They leave from another door. Anjo's father is shown on another side. He takes some guns from a police station and then leaves. The students were still stuck in the medical room and decide to come out of the room. One of the students was injured and made him lay on the bed and try to leave from there. As they come out, the bed breaks. The zombies come behind them because of its voice. They again go inside the school, and the police officers were taking the kids on the bike while escaping. They notice a boy was climbed on a terrace. His one foot was injured, and the boy was also a vlogger as well. He calls them for help, and the police officer goes to save him, but the other officer deceives him and leaves on the bike. On another side, San, Suyok, and other students reach the terrace. The door of the terrace wasn't opening, and they try to open it. Another student is shown on the terrace in episode 8. But he didn't help them and didn't open the door. Meanwhile, the military helicopter reaches and takes that boy and asks the student, so he tells them that he is an alone survivor. The others are dead. The military takes the boy from there. A student who has become a zombie sets the school on fire. Due to it, the fire alarms ring and all the doors get open. Now the door of the terrace was also opened, and they go to the terrace. They start calling for help. The gang's boy has become a zombie, tries to open the door. During this, his hand breaks, and the students wrote SOS on the roof. So they will get some help. The officer was with the vlogger, and the other didn't run while deceiving him, but brings a bus for him, and the kids were also there with him. The officer and vlogger jump on the bus. The other officer takes them from there. The students on the roof try to blow the fire. One of the students gives him her lighter. She thinks maybe this student does smoking. The officer is shown who is driving the bus. A girl gets into an accident from their bus, and the military also arrives there. They rescue everyone and take them with them. The girl in the pink sweater was still locked herself, thinks to bring the food for the survivors on the roof. She also remembers how her teacher has sacrificed her life while saving her. While leaving, she meets the gang's boy who was a half-zombie and was hungry. He pulls the girl towards him and eats her. On another side, San tells Anjo that he likes her. Anjo doesn't like this and stands up from there. San says, "I do like you, but you don't need to like me." Anjo asks him to leave, and the gang's boy arrives, who is a zombie now and fights with everyone. The class president, who was a half-zombie, throws him down while lifting him. But still, he wasn't dead. It is shown in episode 9, the officer who was taken by the military. He tells them a teacher, Mr. Lee, has made this virus, and his laptop has its antidote. The laptop is in a science lab of a school. The commander orders everyone for this mission. The students on the roof find a helicopter coming to them. They call the helicopter for help. The soldiers get off the helicopter and check the temperature of all students. But the temperature of the class president was different, because she is now a half-zombie. The soldiers ask the students, "We have to bring the laptop from the science lab at first. After it, we will take you from here while rescuing." On another side, the scene in the military is shown. The girl who got into the accident was also a half-zombie. She eats a boy there. When the commanders see this, they discover the girl was also a zombie. They think there are some zombies about whom they don't know. And the students, including Anjo and Suyok, were forbidden to rescue by the commander. The soldiers move while leaving them there. Sam becomes furious because of this and blows the bonfire off. He also removes the sign of SOS. Anjo's father is shown on the way, and a man asks for help from him. He leaves while giving the gun to that man because he has to save his daughter. The military has also caught the girl who was infected. The rain also starts at night there. The students were stuck on the roof, and there was also a lot of thundering. They decide the zombies can't recognize their voice because of thundering. Thinking this, they try to move out from here. They come downside, and when they reach downside, San sees his mother. She was changed into a zombie. San discovers in episode 10, his mother is also a zombie now. San weeps a lot because of this and becomes emotional. Many zombies appear there, and a girl gets separated from her group. The zombies hold her. They bite her, and she also changes into a zombie. On another side, the commander was watching Mr. Lee's video. He discovers Mr. Lee told the truth. There is no antidote for this virus. If a human is affected by this virus, the antidote is to end him while burning. If this will not be done, this whole world will change into zombies. The students are shown going out of the school and the morning appears. Anjo's father was still on the way in search of his daughter. The gang's boy is shown who is still in search of Sand. The commanders discover the zombie virus has spread in the other cities. The students stuck in the school try to make a wall. They were going out, meanwhile, the zombies attack them. They bite one of the students and he becomes infected. Even then, he tries to save his other friends. Except for this, the zombies end and eat him. The commanders' meeting is shown and they decide if we will not stop it, the zombies will spread in this world. They think to blast a bomb. The students were coming out and reached the door. The door was locked from outside and any outsider can open it. Anjo sees her father there and he opens the door. Anjo becomes happy seeing her father and hugs him. Anjo's father is shown decides to take them to a mountain in episode 11. Because it was the place from where they can be saved from zombies. When they reach the ground while running, many zombies attack them. Anjo's father takes the students out from there while distracting the zombies. He was locked there because he was bitten by a zombie. Anjo feels bad seeing this and starts weeping there. Later, the students reach a construction site. There were zombies also and they sit while coming out of the window. On another side, the commander was experimenting on zombies and discover the zombies can't bear the high frequency. They decide to gather the zombies at a place to blast at them. Students are shown still stuck in the school. There was only a way to move from here, that a student will distract the zombies and others will leave. None was ready to accept this, because they don't want to lose anyone. Meanwhile, they notice a helicopter coming towards them. The helicopter tells them there will be a blast. The people who are not infected should leave this place. The drones also arrive in the city and make noise due to it. The zombies were distracted. The gang's boy reaches San. He was still chasing him, turning into a zombie, and bites San's head during the fight. Anjo feels sad seeing this. Because Anjo also likes San. San hugs Anjo and exchanges the name tags. San has become a zombie now and distracts the zombies. The other students who were not infected leave from there. San and gang's boy start fighting. Suddenly, there was a blast and they die in it. They die. It is shown in the last episode of the series the left students, including Anjo. And she again goes to the construction site to see San. There was none because everyone died. They return from there. They reach a forest and find many ribbons there. These ribbons were tied by Anjo's father and she finds her father's torch there. Anjo discovers the ribbons were placed by her father. They move out of the forest with the help of ribbons. They reach another city, but it was already deserted. There was none and they discover some zombies are chasing them. They don't decide to run from there but to fight with those zombies. During the fight with zombies, 2 of the students also get infected. One of the students was ended by the class president because he has changed into a zombie. They run from there. The class president, who was feeling she will become a complete zombie. She was also feeling hungry and wanted to eat them, so makes herself apart from them. Sudyak and Anjo chase her to save her. Reaching there they see the girl was eating the other zombies. Meanwhile, she attacks Anjo. Sudyak can't enter because he likes her. She leaves Anjo and moves from there. The survivors go to the base and the military locks them into jail for 3 months. To check they are zombies or not. They were released after 3 months. Anjo goes to a mountain reaching out and places some food items for her friends. She sees the school's roof and there was still a bonfire and thinks maybe she is their class president. She tells Sudyak about all this. They decide to go to school at night. Sudyak gathers more friends with him. They reach there and notice the bonfire. The class president was also there and was recovered now. Anjo asks her to go with her. She refuses while saying there are many others like me. Meanwhile, others like her arrive there and she leaves while jumping from the building. Her friends become surprised seeing this. This is the end of the movie series. What do you think about the movie? Do let me know in the comments section. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe and click the bell icon so that you will not miss the single video when I upload an exciting video like this. Thanks for watching and stay safe.